Hello everyone, the Disney Price here. Welcome back to a slightly different video. Sometimes I do slightly different videos. I'm going off track of the subject of Disney. It's a very sort of different video today. Today I'll be talking about my diagnosis of epilepsy and how it's changed my life in the last couple of years of being diagnosed with it. I was diagnosed with epilepsy probably about a couple of years ago now, and it has changed my life. I think there's no doubt about that. It has definitely changed my life. Starting with the most obvious, which is, of course, I have seizures. I'm grateful that they are not as severe as some people and they are not as frequent as some people. I'm not going to get into the juicy facts about all of that sort of thing, but I'm just grateful that it's not me that is going through seizures every day. I'm grateful that it's only once every few months, and the longest time I've not had a seizure after being diagnosed with it is 12 months, and I was so proud when I hit that milestone of getting to 12 months. But there are different ways that it has impacted my life. Probably the biggest one, especially within the next year, is driving. The facts and the laws about that is that I can't drive if I've had a seizure in the last 12 months. That does mean I won't be able to drive unless I start medication, which is something I'm not really looking to do at the minute. And I think I'm doing A-levels at the school I'm currently at, so I don't think that driving is the biggest issue, something I definitely need to do. I don't think it's the biggest thing I need to do. And eventually, hopefully, I want to start working in London or in some sort of city where I can just catch a bus or the London Underground, that sort of thing, into work every day. So I think driving is not going to actually be the biggest restriction of my life. I think I'll get away with not driving. The next thing is about with COVID-19. And I think sort of lockdowns do cause me to have seizures. I'm not 100% sure about that. But the last two times that I've had seizures is during a nationwide lockdown where schools have been closed. And I think it's possibly because I'm not sleeping as much. I'm up until late and then I sleep in. So my sleeping pattern's all messed up. Maybe it's because I'm staring at a computer screen all day because I'm doing schoolwork, or I don't know. And I think something like 50% of people with epilepsy don't know what causes their seizures. I am one of those 50%. The doctors have put it down to lack of sleep, but I'm not, and I think me and the doctor sort of agree it's not 100% the reason of lack of sleep, possibly for some of them, but not all of them. So I don't know, and I possibly never will know. But medication is something I'm not really starting to look at. I don't really want to start medication. There's so many side effects that it could happen, behaviour changes, loss of weight, gain of weight, and there are very rare side effects, so liver and kidney sort of failures and stuff like that. So I think if it's not very necessary for me to have medication, I don't think it's the right thing for me to take it. But with the impact of COVID-19, yesterday I went for my vaccination. I have to have the Pfizer BioNTech vaccine. So that is the American and the German manufacturers of vaccine. I had my first dose yesterday in my arm. Didn't hurt one bit, honestly, and I've had no side effects so far except for a bit of an achy arm, which I've still got now. Honestly, it didn't hurt, and I encourage you, if you are asked to get the vaccine, please get it. It will help us get back to normality as soon as possible. But I am classed as group 6. I have an underlying health condition, epilepsy, and I'm classed as clinically vulnerable, not clinically extremely vulnerable. Those are the people who have to shield during lockdowns and when case numbers are high, etc., etc. But other than that, the doctors and myself hope that my life will continue normally as it should, like any other person, but with just the odd hold back every now and then. And I think some people may know that my ambitions before my diagnosis was to be a pilot, And unfortunately, as soon as I got diagnosed, I realised that that wasn't going to happen. So I've started looking at more jobs, what I'd be interested in, and thankfully I found a different sort of career path I could take and I can take even with epilepsy. It's a desk job, so I don't think it's much of a problem if I do have a seizure. I'm not in charge of a plane, so I think in a way it's good that I've not ambitious to be a pilot anymore, so I think that's good. But hopefully getting into a business one day, hopefully for the Disney company, that would be amazing to start working in Disney in London. Hopefully with some sort of advertising, working with Disneyland Paris, Disney World in Florida, Disneyland California, or globally. And I think that sort of job opportunity is amazing for me to try and get into. And I've started taking my subjects towards getting to there. So taking my A-levels next year. Well, starting my A-level courses next year, finishing my GCSE courses this year, and then on to university, and then on to who knows where. Hopefully living in London or Birmingham or anywhere like that, where I can just catch public transport anywhere and driving won't be a problem. Because for international viewers, you might not know that in London, if you have a diesel or a petrol car, you get charged commissions on emissions. Commissions on emissions. It's a tongue twister, but yeah, you do get charged if you have not got an electric car. So it's either that I get an electric car, like a Tesla. Maybe one day with a Tesla I'll be able to drive. Who knows? But yeah, I think at the minute you just got to take it one day at a time with all the lockdown we're in. And I'm so glad I got my vaccination yesterday. It was honestly amazing to get my vaccination. Honestly, I was so happy when I was offered it by my GP. But my advice to you, if you do have epilepsy, is let people know. Let people know that who you spend a lot of the time of the day with, even if you're not comfortable about telling them, you need to, in a way, sort of tell them in case you have a seizure. Thankfully, I sometimes get a sort of a warning when a seizure is about to happen, so I can let people know. But I know for a fact there are lots and lots of people out there that do not know when their seizures are about to begin. So I think it's really important that you tell people around you that you have got epilepsy and that you might have a seizure, what to expect if you have a seizure. I think the sort of international guideline sort of thing is if someone is having a seizure for more than 5 minutes, you need to call an ambulance, and they do need to go to hospital. So that is an important fact that I think everyone needs to know. If someone is having a seizure for longer than 5 minutes, make sure you call an ambulance. Also, if they take their medication, make sure they're taking that regularly, because not stopping your medication may cause you to have lots of seizures. It depends. Every person with epilepsy is different. I am different. I have a occipital lobe epilepsy is what it's called. Apparently, it's one of the rare forms of epilepsy. So yeah, there are lots of restrictions in my life, and I have to make sure that everyone that is around me knows that I have epilepsy, so they know what to do if I have a seizure. Also, on my Apple Watch, I do have an Apple Watch, well yeah, my clock face is Mickey Mouse. But you do also have the option, if you ever find someone who is unconscious and needs medical help and they're wearing an Apple Watch, if you hold down, there are 2 buttons on the side, it's probably not going to focus. If you hold down this button here, it will come up with this. If you carry on holding the button, it should usually call emergency services, but it does come up with this sort of panel here, and it does have an option to call emergency services. It keeps on trying to focus on my face. Okay? It does have an option to call emergency services. Also, it does have the medical ID option. Ambulance crews will likely know that that's there, but if you do find a person that's unconscious, it comes up with this medical ID, and if they do have one, it will have all their information about their weight, their height, their medical conditions, notes to their medical conditions, allergies and reactions, what medications they're taking. So it's important for the doctors to know what medications you're taking, so they know what drugs they can and can't give you if you are found unconscious. Whether you're an organ donor, whether you've been involved in a more serious accident. And also it's got contact numbers and contact information to your relatives or your best friends that are there to help you when you need it. So an ambulance crew knows who you are and who to phone if you're ever found unconscious on the street. So that is a really good thing to have on your Apple Watch, or you can also get it on your phone too, holding the power button. It will come up with medical ID or emergency SOS, so you can call an ambulance if you're still conscious but having a seizure. So you can call an ambulance if you can't shout for help or anything like that. So yeah, it is... and if you get diagnosed with epilepsy, your doctors will go through everything with you. It's something like 1 in 26 people will have epilepsy in their lifetime. So I'm pretty sure someone personally know, will have epilepsy in their life sometime. That might be from when they're born. It might be from my age. When I was about 14, I got diagnosed. Or when you're in your late 80s, in your 50s, any age. Epilepsy can affect you at any age. And the main the reason why they think I didn't get diagnosed until I was 14 is that when I was growing and my head was expanding, that the problem in my brain was sort of forced to come out when my brain started to grow with my head. And then moving back to the vaccination, if you are above 16 and you have any underlying health conditions, this is for the UK only, if you have an underlying health condition, check to see whether you are eligible for the vaccine. Everyone above the ages of 16 with an underlying health condition can get the vaccine, and they should have the vaccine by April the 15th. This does mean that people under the age of 16 with serious or just any underlying health condition cannot get the vaccine. The vaccines are not licensed to people under the age of 16. I couldn't have the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine due to it not being licensed to under 18s. My life has been absolutely normal since I've had the vaccine. I'm in for the second dose, I think in June, early June sometime. So hopefully that means I'll be able to get out to the States safely. I won't have to worry about potentially becoming ill. And you may remember from when we came back in March, this was before the rules on face masks, social distancing, I did develop an illness similar to COVID. I'm not sure whether it was COVID because I did not have a test. The tests weren't widely available to the public. They were only available to people in hospitals and hospital staff that needed to have the test to see whether they had COVID. So I'll never know whether I did have COVID now, but the important thing is I've got those antibodies in my bloodstream, and I may still carry the virus, but I certainly won't get as ill as I may have done in March 2020 because of a possible COVID infection of me. So that sort of rounds it up. Yeah, it is it's not the worst condition. I'm so grateful that epilepsy has not affected me as much as it does with a lot of people. I'm so grateful that it only happens every few months, whereas people have multiple seizures every day sometimes. And one seizure wipes me out for a whole day. My muscles are all achy. I'm absolutely shattered. It is not the nicest thing to have, but yeah, I'm just very grateful that my condition of epilepsy is not as severe as other people's. But anyway, remember, get vaccinated when you are offered the vaccine. It will help us get back to normality as soon as possible. We all want to go to Disney World. If you want to go to Disney World, get the vaccine. They are all safe. They have all been approved. They've all done background checks. They are all safe. So thank you all for watching. I know today has been a very different video as usual. Hopefully a Disney video will be coming very soon, but the parks have actually been quite quiet at the minute, so there's not much going on in the parks. But hopefully I'll have a new video coming out very soon. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you later. Goodbye.